Whether you want to invest in a stock market or any other assets, the first thing you will do is proper research that will help to increase the investment. When you are following finance news, then you fall into the category of a reader, not an investor. At that point of time, excess observation is a matter of concern. Welcome back to another episode of Living Fire. If you never want to miss an upload, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Here is why the investor should pay less attention to financial news. You can't decide. When you decide to start investing money, your first source of information is likely financial news. The problem starts here. Once you start following the news, it will be difficult to choose your next step, as the market is not stable, and you will end up either investing in an incorrect place or have to leave the investment idea behind. The market condition may be good, bad, or average sometimes, and in this case, you may think about taking your next step tomorrow, and maybe that tomorrow never arises. In this situation, the chances of facing losses are higher than gaining. Excess advice makes you confused. It is important to take advice from experts, and in fact, you must not do anything without having information regarding finance. And no doubt, the suggestions from the experts are valuable, as they have a lot of knowledge about it. Naturally, they will give every detail regarding it, but excess of everything is bad. And the same thing applies to finance news as well. The problem starts once you begin digging more into the news, and you end up on the negative side of it. Although everything has its positives and negatives, it's difficult to avoid the negative side once you are more into it. If you rely upon the mainstream media for information, and particularly for insights into economics and finance, you'll be woefully misinformed. Thomas Jefferson's youthful confidence in a free press was founded on the shoals of reality, and in his later years, he came to despise journalism on the grounds that it's far better to be ignorant than misinformed. He advised one young man never to read the newspapers. And this problem has important consequences. These days, many investors, most of whom are actually speculators, are superficially knowledgeable. Fundamentally, however, they, including some very prominent and vocal ones, seem to comprehend surprisingly little. Why? Perhaps it's their addiction to a toxic, in more than small doses, form of information called news. The consumption of news, particularly its online and TV variants, handicaps investors by hindering their thinking. If anything, the less news that the investor consumes, that is, the fewer the irrelevant and damaging stimuli that bombard their senses, the bigger is their advantage, and the better their long-term results will be. News is usually irrelevant. Unless you take conscious steps to protect yourself, news will bombard you ceaselessly. In 2011, the Pew Research Center, an American polling organization, estimated that the average American presently encounters 25 items of news every day. That's more than 9,000 per year. A decade later, thanks to social media, which is actually quite antisocial, the number is surely even greater. Of the many news reports you likely encountered during the past year, can you name one that enabled you to make a better decision about a serious matter affecting your life, or that of your nearest and dearest? Consumption of news increases errors of cognition. Heavy consumption of news feeds confirmation bias. Human beings are hardwired to 1. Exclude from consideration evidence that contradicts their preconceptions, and 2. Favor evidence that reconfirms their biases and prejudices. In the words of Warren Buffett, what the human being is best at doing is interpreting all new information so that their prior conclusions remain intact. That's confirmation bias. And the stronger your bias is on a given issue, the more you'll gravitate towards news sites that reconfirm rather than challenge your bias. The result is that news junkies inhabit a bubble that tries to protect them when their hunches, ideas, and theories about the world and themselves confront an uncooperative reality. These junkies thereby become overconfident, take excessive risks, misjudge opportunities, and make costly mistakes. Consumption of news exacerbates another cognitive error, the story or narrative bias. Our brains don't merely crave stories, they need stories that make sense, even if they don't correspond to reality. And news organizations are happy to deliver them. Instead of just reporting that the stock market declined or increased by 1% today, pundits solemnly proclaim, the market declined today because of X. This X could be concerns about rising rates of interest, unexpectedly poor payroll statistics, a decision taken by the Fed's Open Markets Committee, a terrorist attack somewhere, or anything newsworthy that strikes the reporter's fancy. And this X often varies from one expert to the next. The plain truth is that we simply don't and can't know exactly why the stock market moves as it does from day to day. Too many factors, which vary from one individual and place, etc., to another, are at play. Of course, a specific factor, X, might have exerted a casual influence, but X's role is uncertain and temporary, and other influences like Y, Z, etc., may be much more significant. Most news reports are simply anecdotes, allegations, and assertions that masquerade as and substitute for description and analysis. As such, they provide an unsatisfactory means to make some sense of the world. Accordingly, the smaller the quantity of news we consume, the less it can cloud and distract our thinking. Consumption of news is costly. Consumption of news doesn't just waste time, it exacts exorbitant opportunity costs. First, count the time that the consumption of news demands. That's the time you actually waste reading, hearing, or watching the news. Second, consider the time it takes to refocus. That's the time you squander trying to return to what you were doing before the news interrupted you. Every time you disrupt your work or leisure in order to check the news, this reorientation wastes more time. Third, news can distract you hours after you've digested today's hot items. News, stories, and images may pop into your mind hours and sometimes days later, constantly interrupting your train of thought. Why would you want to do that to yourself? If you read the newspaper for 15 minutes each morning, check the news on the internet for 15 minutes during lunch, and watch a TV news bulletin 15 minutes before you go to bed, you're cumulatively squandering a substantial amount of time. Then, add a few minutes here and there when you're at work, plus distraction and refocusing time. You'll lose productive hours, totaling at least half a working day every week. And with that, we've reached the end of today's episode, all about why investors should pay less attention to financial news. Do you do a lot of research involving finance? Get involved and let us know in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed this one and you found it helpful, remember to leave a like on the video and to subscribe to Living Fire for even more amazing videos just like this one. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.